Now, if there is a problem and somehow you get removed from the meeting, please join with the same link. Okay, so please join if there is some problem. Okay, so come on, let's start. So our actual science is a risk management course. Risk management course requires knowledge of mathematics and statistics. So all of our course is going to be based on mathematics and statistics papers. Okay, so if your video is on, please switch it off. Okay, because okay. So risk management course that is dependent on basically mathematics and statistics in financial world. So we'll not be studying mathematics of science, but we'll be studying of our financial world. Now the four industries where actuaries uh, work are insurance, investment, risk management, that is our financial risk management, and data analysis. Now in our insurance world, we have life insurance and we have general insurance. Insurance mein there are two categories. One is life and pension, and everything else is comes into a general category, general insurance. So general insurance is a very big category. It contains our car to insurance, two wheeler insurance, then we have health insurance, then we have fire insurance, we have house insurance, we have property, we have asset management, we have a lot of different kinds of insurances. They all come in one banner that is called as general insurance. Then investment, we have two types of studies in investment. One would be making models, that is our modeling, and the second would be using those models. So one requires more statistical knowledge, the other requires more mathematical knowledge. But obviously, in both of them, we'll be studying using mathematics and statistics. Then we have risk management, financial risk management. How do we manage the risk of losing money in the financial world? And we have data analysis. Data analysis is also a very wide course and very wide range of industries use data analysis. Now, even you might have heard that for elections, different Modi is using a Japanese company, and other people are using the other companies. You might have heard these kind of things. What they do is they analyze the data and they come up with what kind of speeches or what kind of people will be influenced by what kind of policies. So they come up with what you should speak when you are giving a speech in a particular area. Like हो सकता है कि people in Mumbai will have different kind of different kind of requirements than people in some rural areas. So you have to analyze the data, what kind of problem do they have, what we might provide that may help them, and then you can make policies accordingly. So that becomes our data analysis. So data analysis is used in a wide range of industries. Okay. Now our course concentrates in all four part of these. Okay. So it is divided in 13 papers. So the 13 papers are divided in four major groups. In the first core principle, we have 7 examinations. Core principle, you can see we have 2 mathematical papers, 2 statistical papers, and we have 3 business papers. 2 mathematical papers, CM1 and CM2, and 2 statistical papers, CS1 and CS2. In these, we have 2 papers each. We have paper A and paper B. Paper A is nothing but 100 marks written examination, and paper B is 100 marks software based examination. These examination has to be given in the same diet. That means if you are giving examination in September, then both paper A and paper B has to be completed in that same September, diet September 2020 diet. Okay, so you'll have to give both A and B paper in September examination. What happens is कि जैसे CM1 का paper A and paper B will be one day after the other. So maybe if paper A is on Monday, paper B will be on Tuesday, or the other way around. So one day after the other, we have these two papers. Now the written paper, we have to go to the centers, and 3 hours we have written paper 100 marks, and for software based examination we have 1 hour 40 minutes examination. This can be given from your home as well. So all you require is those particular softwares and internet connection. So for both mathematical papers CM1 and CM2, we have Excel, and for both statistical papers CS1 and CS2, we have R programming. So we have programming based software that is called as R Studio. This is programming language R. That is a statistical language. So we will understand what we are studying in our statistical or mathematical papers, how to apply them in our practical life using these Excel and R programming. Now, the written examination has 70% weightage and the software based examination has 30% weightage. So you have to pass both of them combined. Okay, so paper A and paper B may say you, let's say paper A may you got 86% or 86 marks, and paper B may you got 0 marks. So if you see 70% of 86.7 is going to be 60.2. Okay. So this 60.2 combined will be your marks. Okay, 60.2 would be combined marks. So usually the passing marks range from 55 to 60. This is usually our passing marks. So you'll definitely pass if you get 86 in your written examination. Obviously we will be not going for 0 marks, but this was just an example to tell you that individual passing is not required. It is combined passing. Okay, so combined passing is required. You can give the paper B examination at home. I will explain अच्छे से, ठीक है. Paper B, that is software based examination. For paper A, that is the written examination, you have to go to the centers. So for paper A, you have to go to the centers provided by the institute. You can give from home. Okay. So let's get back. So 55 to 60 is the passing mark. Okay, and you will have to combine pass. So say 70% weightage for written examination and 30% weightage to our software based examination. So essay, or in all of these four papers, CM1, CM2, CS1 and CS2, in all of these four papers we have two papers. Okay, and then we have three business papers. This is nothing but accounts, business finance, this is economics, and this business management is a practical based paper that we will talk about when we come up to that. Okay, so we start with either CM1 or CS1. So most of you might be starting, this might be your first paper, so you can start with CS1, or you might have completed your CM1 and you are now giving the CS1 papers. This is usually the way we go. Okay, then obviously the knowledge of CM1 and CS1 will be required in CM2 as well as in CS2. So without the knowledge of CM1 and CM2, you will not be able to give CS1 and CM1. You will not be able to give CM2 and CS2. Okay. these are not very much linked to these four papers. This is basically our basic of accountings. This is our basics of economics. So if you have studied 11 12 economics, so you will have not much problem in CB2. If you have studied any accounting subject, BCom or first year, BCom second year, or any such, account related course, then you will not have much problem in CB1. You will understand most of the topics very well. So these are just basics of understanding in accountings and economics. Then we come up to this core practice. The second level is core practice, where we have three papers. We have CP1, we have CP2, and we have CP3. CP1 may we have two written papers, 100 marks each. We have CP2 may two computer based examination, that is also 100 marks each. And CP3 is communication based practical examination. So this is again not a big deal. After completing all of these 10 papers, you get a degree called associate actuary. That is that is similar to a bachelor's degree. So associate actuary is nothing but like a bachelor's degree in actuarial science. So many people stop after doing these 10 papers, but if you continue, that is called as your specialization. So we have specialist principal and we have specialist advance. Specialist principal may we have 9 options. Out of these 9 options, you have to select any two. You have to select any two, and you can see depending on what kind of subject you are going to study, you have different options. Life insurance ke liye usually life we have life insurance and pension. Healthcare ke liye we have a different subject, so usually healthcare pension or healthcare and general insurance. General insurance ke liye we have two different subjects. Then risk management ke liye we have a subject. Investment ke liye we have two subjects. So we have different subjects for different type of course you might be specializing in. So you have to do any two out of these 9, and depending on which you chose there, you will have your specialist advanced. Advanced may you have option of 7, and out of these 7 you have to select any one. So this way you have completed all of your 13 papers, then you will be called as a fellow actuary. Okay, then you become a fellow actuary. So this was all about different examinations. Now we'll talk about our CS1. CS1 subject is nothing but CS1 is nothing but our first statistics based examination. We go from basic statistics. Now we have these 15 chapters. Before we start that 15 chapters, we have to learn basics of statistics. So we'll have basic 3 chapters. So I say that is B1, B2, and B3. So we will have data summary, we'll have probability, and we'll have random variables. These are the basic chapters that we need to know before we start our CS1 course. So these are the 3 basic subjects that we'll study first, and then we'll do all of these 15 subjects. And then while we have studied enough, we will start our R programming, and relevantly we will be studying all of our programming together as well. So we'll be studying these 18 chapters, and we will be studying R programming right from basics, right from how do we start our programming up to how do we solve anything related to what we have studied in our written paper. So all of these different style of analysis will learn how do we use them practically. Okay. Now before we move further, we'll talk about a little bit about statistics. Okay, what is statistics? Almost everybody has studied some basic of statistics when we were studying, I think 9, 10th, 11, 12th. Okay, so we have studied mean, median, mode. Whenever I ask, everybody says mean, median, right? This becomes our basics of statistics. Or you might say correlation. You might have studied correlation regression, right? You might have studied standard deviation. You might have studied variances. Now what is this? These are nothing but tools. These are nothing but analytical tools. Mean, median, mode, we call them as averages. Standard deviation, variance, we call them as a second level of analysis. So we have different level of analysis. What is this and why do we require? The first thing that I ask to all of my students is, what do you think? Okay, I would like an answer. Okay, in the chat you can type, what do you think statistics is? We usually relate our subjects into three different categories. We have science, we have commerce, and we have arts. Usually we say anything that we study come into these three categories, whether it is a science, whether it is a commerce, or whether it is arts. What do you think that statistics is? So I'm getting branch of science, science of data. Okay, this is usually what people define statistics as. Anybody saying commerce? I think not. Nobody is saying commerce. Okay, so it is not commerce. Okay, why is not it commerce? Because whenever statistics is an organization, analysis, interpretation, presentation of data. Okay, that is correct. But I'm talking about in which category would you put it in? Whether you would put it in science, whether you would put it in commerce, and whether you would put it in arts. That is the basic structure of our studies. So we will not call it as commerce, because commerce is nothing but anything related to money. So the easiest way for me to explain commerce would be, if we remove the concept of money, then there is no subject. That subject will be categorized as commerce. Like accounting, if I remove the concept of money, there will be no accounting, there will be no auditing, there will be no taxation, there will be no there are so many subjects that will perish just because I remove the concept of money. Okay, so everything that is related to concept of money will be categorized as commerce. Statistics can be used in the concept of money, but it is not totally dependent on the concept of money. So it can still be used even if there is no concept of money. So definitely it's not commerce. I have no idea what arts is, so I will not go into that. It is definitely not arts. But it is not science as well. Why is it not science? Because science is defined as facts, or you would say anything that would have only one single answer would be categorized as science. So anything related to facts and logic comes into science. So we have maths, we have physics, we have chemistry, and we have biology. So these are the subjects that we categorize as science. Okay, maths हो, physics हो, chemistry हो या biology हो, in any of these subjects they are totally related to logic. That means if I say 1 plus 1 is equals to 2, there is no way that is mathematically consistent. You could prove this wrong. Okay, it will always be 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. We have learned that a lot in mathematics, that in many different ways we can come up with the same answer. So any like you might have studied a little bit of trigonometry. So we use our a square plus b square is equals to h square, hypotenuse theorem, right? Our addition of two sides, right angle triangle, that becomes our, you know cos square theta plus sine square theta is equals to 1. This translate into this. So you can prove that it is a right angle triangle using both of these equations, correct? So there are many ways of proving the same things in mathematics. Same with physics. Physics is basically mathematics applied in practical life. Same thing with chemistry. Chemistry may we learn that if there is a particular chemical process, it happens at 25 degrees Celsius. So every time when the conditions are exactly same, if I mix the same chemicals, I will get the same result. Okay, if the conditions remain same. So this is also based on logic. I will not get any other chemical or any other result. Okay, and same thing with biology. We understand biology is much more complicated than basics, but we know it is totally dependent on logic. Okay, but statistics is not based on logic. Why do I say that? Okay, statistics में we can get same data के लिए we can get multiple answers. Like here when we said averages, we have three different averages. We have mean, we have median, and we have mode. Average is just one, but we have three different answers for the same thing. For the same data, we'll have different mean, different median, and different mode. So clearly the logic that we said, science may we should have one single answer even if we use different methods. That does not apply to statistics. Now this was just an example, mean, median, mode. You will see throughout our course I'm going to show you that if we manipulate our data, we can get exactly opposite answers. Okay, from the same data you can have two different opposite point of views just by manipulating the data. Okay, so statistics is not a science. It is neither science nor commerce nor arts. So what is statistics? Statistic is a tool. Statistics is used in science, it is used in commerce, maybe used in arts. I'm not very sure. Okay, but definitely used in science and commerce. It is a tool. Now just like an hammer can be used to build a table as well as destroy a table, same तरीके से statistics can be used to build a concept of science, build a concept of commerce, or destroy a concept of commerce if used improperly. Okay, so statistics के लिए understanding is the most importance. We know how to find mean, we know how to find median, we know how to find mode, but when to find mean, when to find median, and when to find mode, and how to use it is the most important thing. Okay, so that is what statistics is based on. Okay, it is totally based on our understanding. So for the same data you can get mean, median, and mode. I'll give you a simple say example. When we talk about average income, you might have heard a lot about GDP, right? You might have studied GDP. What is GDP? GDP is nothing but mean income. GDP is nothing but mean income. Okay, just wait 1 minute. Okay, I will. Just give me 1 minute. Huh? If you can keep your video off, that would be very appreciable. It would be easier for you to view the presentation. Okay, so keep your video off. Thank you. Just give me 1 minute, okay? I'll get back to it. Just have to. Okay, let's get back. So we were talking about mean, median, mode, right? So for mean, median, mode, we said average income के लिए GDP is nothing but mean income. We say it is nothing but the total income of the whole country divided by the total population. That is the basic definition of our GDP. It is much more complicated. I'm just giving you the basic definition. Okay. So that becomes our mean income. We are adding all the income, we are dividing by the total population. But this is not good enough to understand how the income is distributed in our population. This is actually a very bad representation. Why? Because you might have studied that the disadvantage of mean is that it is affected by extreme values. That means a very small amount of people with very large income can influence our mean a lot. So people like Ambani, Adani, Birla, Tata, these all big industry people, their income is much larger than average people. Okay, so what happens is because of that small number of people that have very large income, our mean gets much higher. So it is not a very good representation. It is good enough for a person who is looking towards investing in our country and wants to know how our country is earning money, how much averagely are we earning. So that is good enough for them. But what about if you want to understand the how the economy or how the income disparity works in a particular population? For that, if you had heard something discussion in the news, you might hear median income. So we use median income, we do not use mean income. Now what does median income is? That is the income, that is the value, let's say 50,000 rupees. Okay. It is the value above which 50% of the population resides and below which 50% of the population resides. So what happens is that small amount of people that have very large income do not influence our median income. So when you're looking at a demography, you want to understand how the population is doing, you will not look at GDP, but you will look at median income. Rather, if you want to compare both, you will get a much better idea. If mean income is much higher than the median income, if mean is much higher than the median, what does that mean? That means that there are a small number of people who have very, very, very large income. So there is a big income gap between average people and that 1% or high income people. And similarly, if mean and median are almost equal, that means income is distributed normally, or you would say it is distributed in such a way that majority people have their income around average, and there is a small number of people having very high income and very small number of people are poor. Okay. So this is what we aim for, that our mean income and median income become equal. But very rarely that happens in any country. What we find is our mean income is much higher than our median income. But how much higher would tell you a better idea about how much income gap is there in a particular country. So you can see just looking at one particular value was not enough for us. Just looking at mean income or just looking at median income gave us some idea about some questions. but looking both together gave us a better idea. So when you're analyzing something, first thing you do is you find your objective. What do we actually need to do? Second thing what we do is we find how do we achieve that objective. So after collecting data, what analytical tool would we use to achieve that objective? If I need to know only about how to invest in a country, I will be happy with GDP. If I want to know about basic information about the population's income, I will be happy with median income. But if I want to know income inequality and I want to compare that income inequality with other countries, I would look at mean and median both and see the difference between them. That will give me a better idea about how is the income inequality in India versus income inequality in other countries or all over the world. So this is how we take into account different tools depending on what our construction or what our uh, you know furniture we need to build. We will choose different tools. Same tarike se what we need to achieve, we will have different tools for analysis in that particular case. So that is why I say statistics is neither science nor commerce nor arts. It is a tool. It is a tool of analysis that is used for assistance in science, commerce, and arts. And the same way, you will have to learn to use the tool properly. That is very much important. So you might have studied or you might have seen somewhere written that it's a social science. Sometimes we say statistics is a social science. Sometimes we say statistic is a analytical science or data science, or lot of different words that use the word science but do not actually mean science. Okay, so we will not categorize it as a science. It's just a tool of analysis. So throughout our subject, this is our basic of analysis. The CS1 is basic of analysis. Then CS2 will be advanced analysis. That is modeling. How do we create models? We'll talk about models while we'll solve CS1 as well. Okay, so that is not a big deal. So I'll be talking about what you will study later on in different subjects and how it is related to our CS1 subject while we are studying our CS1 subject. So here we'll start with our basics. As I said, we'll start with data summary. Here we will be studying our mean, median, mode. We will be studying standard deviation. We'll be studying skewness. We'll be studying everything in data summary. We'll study basics of probability. How do we use probability? How do we uh, find probability, use probability, and everything. And we will study how do we use a random variable. Now for random variable, I'll just give a basic example. Now if I say, again, I would like you to answer this. If I say what would be the next number? In the first one, would you say the next number would be? And in the second one, what would you say the next number? Anybody? So I'm getting mostly first one we'll have 4 and the second one we'll have 50. And you would be correct if this was a series. Usually whenever we see these kind of numbers, we always think of series. Okay, so how did we determine that? We are saying that clearly this is increasing by 1 each time, so that is why we are getting 4 here. Here it is remaining constant, so it should stay 50. But what if I say this was nothing but rolling one dice 3 times, and I'm rolling a dice 4 times, the fourth time. Now, when I roll the dice fourth time, does it depend on what value I got for the first time, value I got the second time, and what value I got the third time? It does not depend on that. So in actuality, is this value can be anywhere 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. It could be any of these values because I'm just rolling a dice, right? And here, when I'm saying that this is nothing but the score scored by a batsman in a particular match. So in the past three matches, the person is scoring 50 runs in each of these matches. Does that mean in this match also the person will score 50? Not. Okay. So the person might score 0, the person might score 100, the person might score 120, any amount. So there is no restriction, there is no logic behind it. But we know the possible values, like in this, we know the possible values is 1 to 6. We know here the possible values are 0 to infinity. The person can score as much as they want in a particular match. Okay. And we know how likely is that to happen. Like in this particular case, we know each value is equally likely. When we are rolling a dice, any value is equally likely to occur. That is why we say probability is 1 by 6. Right? And here we would say in last few matches, the person scored 350. So most likely the person might score anywhere from, let's say, 30 runs to 70 runs. Okay, in this particular match. I just took a range. Definitely the person could score 0. Definitely the person could score 150. The person could score 200. There is a possibility, but most likely 200 will not be the score that we'll find in this particular match. Most likely not. So the probability of scoring must be much lower. Maybe something like this. Probability of scoring 0, there is still a possibility, but it is small. This probability might be really large. This is nothing but random variable where we know the possible values and we know the probabilities, but we don't know what might occur next. Statistics is all about analyzing random numbers. Here, we may know what are the possible values, what might occur next, but we don't know what will actually happen. So like here we said, looking at the past data, that we said that there is a likelihood that the person will score anywhere between 30 to 70 runs. Correct. So we said most likely the person will score around 30 to 70 runs. That is nothing but our analysis of our past data and talking about the future or predicting something for the future. That is what statistic does. We analyze our past data to understand better about our future. This happens when we are talking about stock market. We analyze past stock market data. We analyze today's stock market, what is happening. Is the market going down? We analyze why it is going down, and we predict what will happen next. We say that in this lockdown situation, it is very difficult for people to earn money. That is why the income will go down. That is why businesses are not earning any money, and that is why the stocks will go down. But just by analyzing that, you will say that hospitals are doing well, especially the private hospitals. You would say that delivery people, especially essential item delivery, so grocery delivery is doing well. Okay, so there are some industries that are doing well even now and maybe doing much better than what they were doing before. So this is nothing but an analysis that we can use to understand a future problem or to make a informed decision in some future problem. That is what we say is predicting the future. So statistics helps us to make an informed decision in the future. Same तरीके से if I say that you are trying to bet on, let's say, cricket match. Okay, so we know that let's say there is a strong team and there is a weak team. So you will definitely bet on a strong team. Does not mean that weak team cannot win. So when we say that next match pay you are going to bet, you will definitely bet on a strong team, even though there is a possibility that weak team will win. Why would you do that? Because you would say there is more likelihood or more probability that strong team will win. And how do you know that? Because we analyzed our past data. We are saying that why is this team strong? Because it has been doing well in the past matches. Why is this team weak? Because it's not doing well in past matches. So we have analyzed the players, we have analyzed their past games. That is why we can say this is a strong team and this is a weak team. And that way we will be taking whom to bet on in the next match. Correct? That is how betting works. That is how you can predict the future. So in actuality, you are not actually predicting the future. You are just taking an informed decision, right? So we know that chances of weak team winning is less, but they can still win. There have been so many games where underdog wins, right? A very weak team still wins. And that happens a lot. Still, we know mostly strong team will win. That is how we analyze a particular data. Okay, and we make a informed decision. So throughout this course, we will understand how to analyze a particular data and how to infer, how to make a decision using our analysis, right? So we will have different kinds of distributions. We'll have how do we use sampling and how do we infer from that particular statistics. Then we'll have testing. How do we do different kind of testing? Data analysis. We have linear regression. You might have studied correlation regression. This is one step further than what we might have studied in 11 12 standard. Then we have multiple regression. We have modeling. We have Bayesian statistics, credibility theory. Okay, these are the different ways we are going to analyze data. uh, four full days. Acha, this I have never understood this. This is somehow they are going. They have shown us how much time will be required for each topic. So they are saying 4 full days. So you will require 4 full days to complete these 4 chapters. That is what they are saying. So in 4 days you will be able to complete these 4 chapters. That is what their analysis is. So that means you can count 4 full days either as 8 hours a day. I think that is what they are meaning, or maybe 24 hours a day ke hisab se. So you will require 24 hours into 4. That would be how much? I think 96. I think 96 hours to complete these 4 chapters. This is how I think they are calculating it. Okay. So I would suggest not to go with this because even I have never understood this. But this gives us an idea that this will require twice as much time to complete than this. This will require 3 times more time than this, and this will require 4 times more time than this. So our course is designed in such a way that we have basics. So these are all basics. And here from chapter, I would say 7 to 15 would be application. Okay, so different ways of analysis comes in this particular chapter, and here is understanding of statistics. It is designed in such a way that you will find more questions are of this particular portion than of this particular portion. I I will be taking the classes. Now see, we will have different batches. This we will be starting as weekend batches, so we'll have Saturday and Sunday. We'll have Saturday classes and we'll have Sunday morning classes. Like tomorrow we will have 10 a.m. to 11:30 to 11:45 mostly. Okay, so 11:45 a.m. तक के we'll have class. Starting में we'll have 1.5 hours to 2 hours classes, and then we will be increasing that later on. Okay. So these classes will be taken by me. Then we will have some weekday classes. So weekday may one batch will be taken by me, one batch will be taken by another sir. Okay, you will get an introduction of that sir later on. Okay, so we have different batches, and most of the batches will be taken by me, and we might have one more sir for some batches. Tomorrow timing would be 10 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Okay. Sunday timing tomorrow is going to be 10 a.m. to 11:45. I will post that in our WhatsApp group as well. If there is someone who is not in the WhatsApp group, just message me. I'll just write down my number. Okay, so this is my personal number. Message me on WhatsApp. Just write down to add you in the WhatsApp group and which subject. Okay, I'll add you in that particular WhatsApp group. Then this Sunday and next Saturday and next Sunday, these are 3 demo classes. Okay, so we'll have 3 demo classes. This is demo for all the batches. We will be completing these basic chapters, okay, because this is very much required. These basic chapters are very much required to understand anything that will happen here. Even the first chapter ke liye we will need to understand all of these 3 chapters. Okay, so we will be starting with these basic chapters. We'll be completing these 3 basic chapters in our 3 demo lectures. That would be tomorrow and next Saturday, Sunday. I will inform what time would be next Saturday and next Sunday later on in the group. Okay, but tomorrow we'll have 10 a.m. to 11:45. Any other doubts about the course or about CS1 or about actuaries, or how would we would conduct it? Acha, before I forget, we use calculator a lot. We use scientific calculator. Okay, so scientific calculator, I will show you which scientific calculator. This is the scientific calculator that we use, that is FX82 ES plus. You can see Casio FX82 ES plus. Now there are other calculators that are allowed in our examination. These are the list of calculators you can see here, but in India this is the most widely used calculator because it is most widely available. You might be using Casio kai FX 991 ES or MS calculator. This is not allowed in our examination. Okay, so you will have to buy FX 82 ES plus. Okay, if you find ES, that is also okay. ES plus is what we find very widely in India. Okay, there's no difference between ES and ES plus, but there is a big difference between ES and MS. MS is allowed in our examination, but ES is much better. We should not use MS. So you'll have to buy this calculator. This is how it looks. This is how it looks. Now I will be teaching you how to use this calculator. Obviously right now you might not be able to buy the calculator, but in your phone just search for any scientific calculator. See here I have the scientific calculator in my Android tablet, and for that just make sure that you have these 4 arrows. Okay, this is very important to us. So you can have any scientific calculator, but make sure that we have 4 arrows and we have this shift and alpha button and this mode button here. So this is the basic layout of our calculator. So when I'm teaching you here, it is almost the same as using this calculator, and that is why we'll be using that as our reference. I'll be teaching you how to use scientific calculator here, don't worry. And even if you have FX991, you can use it right now, does not matter. It has the same layout, so you will get a practice of how to use the same calculator. Okay, but for examination you will have to buy this. Now if you have registered before, if you were studying for April examination, or you did study for CS1 before with us, so you should register. You will not have to pay fees, but you should register. Okay, so fill the form and register. Just register so that we have your details, that's it. Okay, nothing else. Yes, I will be, no, I will not be teaching R programming in demo class, because for demo it will be very difficult to understand R programming if we do not understand the basics of statistics. Okay, so before starting basics of statistics, I cannot start R programming. If you want, yes, I will. I One thing we can do is, okay, on Sunday, next Sunday, okay, next Sunday, I will give you a brief idea how I would teach R programming. Okay, I'll give you a demo of R programming as well. So next Sunday, just remind me once on Saturday, so that I keep everything ready. Yes, we will be using particular material. We have this course material, this course structure. This is the PDF book provided by Indian Institute as well as UK Institute. We'll be using this. Okay, and other than that, we'll be using assignments. We use this classroom app that I will show you later on how to use and something. So we provide you with course material, we provide you with chapter wise assignments, we provide you with the solutions, we provide you with tests, everything. Okay, so we will be using this app from which you can download, and relevant, whenever it is relevant, I'll be sharing those particular chapter material. So this chapter wise assignment is basically past paper message, um, the questions compiled from the past 15 years of papers. Okay, so these are basically, so we'll be using our course material, and we'll be solving sums from this as well as our chapter wise assignments. Will the syllabus be covered to give for no, June exam? For June examination, we did start our classes in April. It started on 1st April. Right now we won't be able to cover enough to, to be able to complete in time for June examination. But if you want, you can join those classes. We have daily classes for June except for Sunday. Okay, so we have 6 days a week classes for June examination. Is buying course material mandatory? No, it is not mandatory in UK, it is mandatory in India. Okay, so for UK we have material, you don't have to buy, and if you buy it from India, you will find you get the same material as well. So total how many lectures will be there? So it will be around 95 hours to 100 hours for written examination. So 95 hours to 100 hours. So mostly we will have around 2 hours each day, so you can calculate that ways, or I will give you a detailed sheet. Okay, when will we cover which particular portion? Okay, that will be provided to you later on. So written examination takes around 95 to 100 hours plus 20 hours of advance hour with 20 hours of basic hour. So this way this course is almost of 140 hours to 150 hours. Okay, so we will divide our time in such a way that we cover and we finish till first week of August. So at the beginning, we will have classes of around 1.5 hour to 2 hours. Then later on, as we get into a particular rhythm, we will increase the timing by maybe first 5-10 minutes, then increase it by half an hour. Then while we are studying hour, we'll be studying for 3 hours to 4 hours, uh, you know, together. Yes, we will be covering complete syllabus. I'm not going to leave even one single topic. So we will be completing not only the 15 chapters in our syllabus here, but also three basic chapters that are required to understand before this. That are prerequisite. I do not assume that you might have studied or you might have the knowledge. I always teach those chapters too. So in demo classes, we'll be studying those chapters, and then we will be completing all of 15 chapters. We do not leave anything. Anything else? When do you expect to start with physical lectures? I have no idea. Do not ask me about physical lectures. I thought maybe by May, we if there was lockdown was ending, then we would have started with our physical lectures. But we'll definitely continue online lectures, and whenever the lockdown ends, then we might take our physical lectures as well. But we always say one thing, that we will start physical lectures only when there is no cases in Mumbai. Why is that? Because even if there is one single case, there is a chance of people getting infected, and we don't want our students to get infected. Okay. Can we use RStudio for? Yes, we will be using RStudio. I will be talking about that later on. Okay, how do we use RStudio? I will show you how to download, where to download, everything, so you don't have to worry about it. After demo, further lectures will be on weekend only. Now we will have different batches. So we will have weekday batches that I will inform you next week. Okay, so these demo lectures is for everybody for weekday as well as weekend batches, and then I will inform when will we have weekend batches and when will we have weekday batches, what timing. And um, we will have weekday batches as well 2 days a week. We will not have all 5 days. So 2 days a week. So you can decide which one would you like to join. Any anything else? So we will also be recording all of our lectures, and I will be sharing that with the student in that classroom app. Like, I'll show you, our June batch is currently underway. So what we do is we use this classroom app where I share daily videos. Whatever we conduct our videos, we share it daily for our students. Especially, some student might not be able to attend while that particular time, so they can watch it later on. Thank you. I would ask everybody to at least attend the three demo classes and then decide for the next week. And as soon as you start deciding and joining the classes, I will show you how to access this online CS1 and everything. Okay, how do you get the material and everything? Okay, so you don't have to worry too much about how it works. What about the old students? Now, old students, if you have paid, we always say in SMONG that if you have paid fees once, you will only pay fees once for a particular subject. So we will not ask you for fees again. Okay. Um, Now these demo classes I will be uploading on YouTube, but the other classes are not uploaded on YouTube. Okay. So I will show you how to access that later on. Okay. Anything else? Any doubts? Any questions? So tomorrow 10 a.m. we'll meet and we'll start. Fee structure I'll share that in the group because I'm not very sure, but for CS1 we charge 25,000, but there are some discounts right now. So Ravi sir will clear that in our WhatsApp group. So if there is someone who is not in the WhatsApp group, please message me. Okay. So for CS1 classes, tomorrow we will have 9 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Then Saturday we will have evening classes. Saturday most likely we will have something like 4 to 6 or maybe 3 to 5. We'll decide that and we'll confirm that um, later on. Okay, so we'll discuss that in on WhatsApp group and we'll confirm that. And Sunday we will have around 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Weightage, we talked about that. We have 100 marks examination, written examination, and we have 100 marks our examination. Okay, so even if you and there it is combined passing marks, right? We were talking about it here. So we have combined passing marks, so even if you get 86 marks in paper A, written paper, and you get 0 marks in online, still you are passed. So there's no individual passing mark, it is just combined passing mark. Okay, so usually the passing mark is around 55 to 60 marks. 70% weightage to paper A, 70% weightage to paper A, and 30% weightage to paper B, that is our software. Further reading material. Now see, we have this book, our course material, that is provided by the institute. Okay, so we will be studying and we'll be providing you with this. Okay, this is understanding about all of our material. Then we have assignments. So we have chapter wise assignments to solve our sums from. So this is our chapter wise assignments. Now in this class, because I have completed only till chapter 4, that is why I have shared only till chapter 4. So we share as we go on completing. So I keep on sharing, and these are, I'll show you the nothing line. Okay, there is some problem, I think I'm not connected here. Okay, show you. Okay, I'll show you CM1. So these are our assignment. These are CM1 assignment. We have CS1 assignments as well. So this is nothing but questions from past examination. Okay, so we have compiled questions from past 15 years of examination, and we practice using those particular questions. So we will be solving few questions in classroom, we'll be giving you few as homework. So every day we'll give you homework like 5 or 6 questions, and then we'll be taking doubts in the first thing in the morning, and we will solve them. And you will have weekly assignments. Okay, so it would be like every day I'll give you just, on Saturday I'll give you like 5 questions, on Sunday I will give you like 15 questions. That ways you will have work for the week as well. And then we solve every day. In the starting, first we solve our doubts and then we start with our lecture. That is how we'll study. So tomorrow for CM1, timing is 8 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. Okay, so morning 8 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. for CM1, and 10 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. that would be CS1. So 8 a.m. no, it is 8:15 a.m. Okay, so we start at 8:15 a.m. for CM1, and we start 10 a.m. for CS1. Anything else? What is how many days will it take to complete CS1 preparation? Now, as I told you, it is around 100 hours plus 40 hours of R. Okay, and we'll complete by first week of August. So if we require more time, we will take more time. If we require less time, we'll take less time. But if you calculate, that is how many weeks we have: May, June, July, and so we'll have 4 into let's say 5 hours uh, each week, and you can easily calculate that. Anyways, I'll give you a brief Excel sheet of which topic will be conducted on which particular day. Okay, I'll give you that next week. Okay, so you will have an idea on what day we'll be completing what topic, and maybe sometimes we'll take one day less, or we'll take one day more. So I will give you a brief idea about what is going on and how much is completed. We'll be always sharing that data with you. So पूरे course का I will give you, how much time and when which particular chapter will be taken. I will give you a yeah, Excel sheet next week. So first week of August we'll complete our full course, and then we will have our doubt sessions. Okay. So after completing our full course, we will still have doubt sessions every week, and we will have tests. So we'll have regular tests, we have chapter wise tests, we have section wise tests. The sections that were made here in our course. Okay. First few chapters, first 4 chapters, then 4 chapters. So these are different 4 different sections. So if section wise tests, then we have mock tests. So last 1.5 months will all be about practicing. We'll be practicing our tests and doubts. So if you have any more questions, you can ask on WhatsApp definitely. Okay, and we'll end our class here, and we'll meet tomorrow.